Oh my god. Guys, I have just had a chance to actually do this paper because that's just the kind of person I am. I'm still a full-blown nerd and I wanted to actually do the exam. So all I'm going to say is, first of all, congrats to anyone who is finished their Leaving Cert today, and well done on getting through the last 2 years of a very strange senior cycle and for finishing this exam. As we can tell by the big, huge, cringy smile on my face, I am so delighted with this paper. I'm chuffed for my own day school and grind students because we have prepped quite literally every single question that has come up on this. We predicted all of this together, so I'm delighted for all of you guys. But I also think that this is an extremely approachable and friendly paper for anyone who may have found Spanish a little bit more of a challenge the last couple of years with everything that has been going on in school. So let's have a quick chat about each section of it. I'm not going to be going through the first comprehension on this paper because I haven't done the prescribed literature with any of my students, so I'm going to go straight to the journalistic text. So I had a look through this. I think this is probably one of the most approachable journalistic text comprehensions that I've seen in any of the past papers, and certainly in comparison to the mock standard comprehensions as well. I think that the actual text itself was very easily understood in comparison to previous years. I don't think they used anything that was kind of strange Spanish, anything like that. The question one, the comprehension questions, I found quite approachable. When I was going through the synonym questions in question 2, just to give you, in case anyone remembers these, the answers for questions 2, it says el programa en vivo, which is like the live program. My answer to that was la transmisión, the transmission. Niñez for 2B, the answer for that was infancia. And el objetivo de, the objective of, is, I have written down for mine, is el fin de, so that might put some of you guys at ease. The translation questions for question 3 in the journalistic text, I didn't necessarily think that these were really, really easy or really, really difficult. I think that the vocab that they used in them was quite approachable. I do think that they are testing people's knowledge of tenses and pronouns a little bit more than previous years, because it is a little bit more of an approachable paper. They might want to be trying to find their higher level students in this. So I have written down for mine, question 3A, I said she grew up with a passion for special trips or like special voyages. There's probably a nice way of saying that in English, but as all of my students know, my English is not the best. 3B, I've said Diana's professional journey has been impressive. Impresionante, you could say impressive, you could say like shocking or inspiring or something like that as well. And then for C, I said a young girl who didn't have any idea how to speak English. I think the question 4 is probably one of the most approachable questions I've seen ever in past papers. So I said for 4A, where the question was terminé con un trabajo, I said acabé con un empleo. You could also say maybe acabé empleado if you wanted to. Or conocer el idioma, I would accept here saber la lengua, aprender la lengua, or comprender la lengua as well. I thought both of the short comprehensions for question 2 were very, easy is the wrong word to use, but I thought they were very easily done by the majority of students, let's put it that way. I had a look through both of them. I didn't necessarily think that one was particularly easier or more difficult than the other, so I'll leave that one with you guys. The section B text, again, the actual text itself, I didn't think was too overwhelming in terms of the level of language that they used in it. I think it was quite a fair text. I think also as well, for those of you that were worried about the synonym questions in section B, that what I was really happy with for you guys is that the actual words that they gave you the words that they gave you in the question were actually quite easily understood in English, which therefore probably made it a lot easier for some of you guys to find the answers in the text, because I know quite often a lot of you would have been worried about not understanding the word that was given to you in the question. So again, easy. I think the translation questions in section B weren't too difficult either. I have written down for mine, perhaps one of the most revolutionary. For question 2B, I said I began to miss my colleagues. And question 2C, I said he was a bit worried about the salary reduction. And again, synonym questions and the summary question for section B as well, I didn't think were too bad. Now, the opinion pieces, when I say I literally have been cartwheeling around the school since I've seen these this morning, like I have been running around with a smile on my face. I'm absolutely delighted with them, and I would imagine that the majority of you guys would have been as well. So our 3 titles were work is not the most important thing, changes are positive, or everything is possible with technology. So I'm obviously not going to go into too much depth with all of them because that would take 15 years and I'm sure you don't want to analyse things that much, but I'm delighted for you guys that the titles were quite easily understood. I know a few of you would have been worried about not being able to understand the question, and I think that that is an unbelievable selection as well, and quite easily adapted to whatever you're the most comfortable with. So I'm sure you were all chuffed with them, or at least I hope you were. Then with section C, I've just done the dialogue construction, and I've had a look through the questions for the diary entry in the note as well. I haven't looked at the formal letter. Dialogue construction, I would say that if you weren't in the habit of reading the other half of the conversation before actually answering this, you definitely would have found this very difficult. However, if you were in the habit of reading what the other person says in the text, this probably wasn't that hard because they give you a lot of the vocab that you actually need from what the other person says. Definitely they're making sure that people aren't using the word facilidades for facilities. They want to make sure that you're going to use the word instalaciones. I would think that some of the past tenses and the use of ser and estar have been used a little bit more throughout this question than we've seen in previous years. I didn't think it was necessarily too difficult. So I hope that whoever did that found that quite, I don't know, not too challenging, let's put it that way. For those of you that did the formal letter, fair play, because I think that's definitely something that you would have had to have a lot of knowledge about, nearly to the point that a lot of the stuff that you would have prepared for the environment, maybe for an opinion piece question, could have been easily moulded to fit the formal letter. But again, not my favourite question, so I'm going to pretend that he doesn't exist. And then moving on to question 2, so the diary entry or the note, for those of you that did this, I've just written down here what I think they're actually testing you on in each part of the question. So for the diary entry, you're on holidays in Barcelona with your family and your Spanish friend Sarah. So write a diary entry mentioning any 4 of the following points. So explain how you and Sarah met. They want to see, are you going to use the verb conocer? Describe the apartment where you are staying. They're making sure that you know that you're going to use the verb ser for descriptions and a star for where the apartment is. Talk about a tourist attraction that you visited. Again, they're testing you on your past tenses. Your sister is not enjoying the holiday. Explain why. I would think that that's a little bit more niche, but I would think that maybe they might like to see that structure of pasárselo bien or pasárselo bomba, like to be having a really good time or to be having a bad time, that they might want to see that being used in the negative. And then what you are going to do this evening, they're testing you on your near future. And then for the last question on the exam, question 2B, the note. You have just started working in a youth hostel in Toledo. Leave a note in Spanish for the manager, Luis. Now, this is where if you don't read the context of the question, you're going to lose marks in the note, because where it says the manager, you're meant to be writing this formally, so you should be addressing Luis as usted. And if you have to ask him anything, you should be using the third person ending of your verb. So for those of you that did this, I hope that is what you did. But say that you have cleaned the bedrooms. They want to see you using the perfect tense for I have cleaned. I would imagine they would accept both the word dormitorio and habitación because it's a hostel, it's not necessarily just a house. Tell them that the Wi-Fi is not working. They want you to use the verb funcionar, which is the verb to function or to work, as opposed to the verb trabajar. And say you were going to town now to buy some summer clothes. They want you to use the near future. They might also be keeping an eye out to make sure that you know that the word ropa for clothes is singular in Spanish in comparison to the English where it's plural. And then mention that the group from Cork arrived this afternoon. Again, they're testing you on your ability to use the past tenses on your own. And the last part then, say that you will start work tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So they want you to use the simple future for I will start, and also make sure that that second year you is somewhere still in your brain and that you remember how to use the time in Spanish as well. So I'm absolutely delighted with that paper. I think it was so accessible, so easily understood. I think it's a very fair paper in comparison to what we've seen in previous years. So I hope that you guys agree, and if you need to rant or get anything out of your system about this exam, leave it in the comments below and we can all moan together. So enjoy the rest of your summer. Best of luck for whatever exams you have left, and yeah, well done again. Adios.